advances to the Final Four.
Shout out Chillinois Basketball Podcast.
Shout out to Chillinois Podcast.
Shout out at Chillinois Podcast.
Shout out Chillinois Basketball, man.
Welcome back to Chillinois Basketball Podcast. As always, Chase Swearingen here with Noah Morgano. Big win for the Illini. Admittedly, I was really hungover from that Bears win, and I did not wake up at 11 a.m. and watch that game. I set my alarm. It went off at 11. I think I set snooze on for 15 minutes. Saw the Illini were up like 17-5 at the under 16 or under 12 timeout and said, you know what? I think I'll sleep through this one. Caught the end of it. Last few minutes of the game was a lot closer than I thought it was compared to how the beginning of the game went. But nonetheless, another golden ticket kind of win, especially with this Iowa team, because we're going to talk a little bit about it and then we'll get into the Northwestern game. We're going to do another 2-for-1 special here. Preview, recap, preview kind of episode. But I mean, this Iowa team, we can talk about it. I don't think they're any slouch. And we went into Carver Hawkeye Arena and beat the brakes off of them for 32 minutes of a basketball game. And I was really impressed. And we can talk about individual players here in a moment. But jumping off the bat, like Keaton Swagler, our guy, we talked about him having that swagger in the last game. It is exponentially higher after this game. I mean, he's approaching Ayo Dosunmu freshman year level. And Ayo Dosunmu's freshman year obviously was not as, numbers-wise, it was probably similarly productive if I had to pull the stats up. I don't remember them off the top of my head, but in terms of wins and losses, definitely not as productive as definitely not as productive as Keaton Wagler's freshman season. Nonetheless, man, like this Illinois team is finally coming into its own. I know we kind of marked this Iowa game as like if they stumble in this one, on paper they were projected to lose. And I don't think they should have lost this game. I know I gave my projection and said they would lose, so I maybe anti-jinxed the Illini here in this one. Noah's shaking his head because he doesn't like it very much. But nonetheless, like this is a big win, especially for this Illini team that they historically have one or two slip games in January or February where you look back in March and you see this team as a 4 or a 5 seed and you're like, why are they a 4 or 5 seed? And then you see they lost to Maryland, or you see they lost to Penn State, or you see they dropped a game to Northwestern at Northwestern, which we'll talk about because we're going to that game on Wednesday too. But this was a really convincing win, man, and I want to get your thoughts about it because if we beat this Northwestern team at this game we're going to, this might be the highest I've been on an Illini team. I mean, I was really high on that Terrence Shannon Jr. team, especially when they just kind of like pummeled everybody in the Big Ten tournament. They had close games in that Big Ten tournament, but you just always felt like they were going to come out on top. I haven't felt like we're going to lose a game in a long time, dude. So I know we both kind of slacked on how much we got to actually watch this Iowa game. We both watched the highlights and I watched the full recap of it. But what are your thoughts? This was pretty incredible to see, especially because we talked about this team needed to come out and slap Iowa in the face, and they absolutely did that. They beat the brakes off of Iowa in the first half. It was a 12-point lead at halftime. Noah?
Yeah, it was a really, really impressive win. I mean, I checked the score when I woke up and they were winning. And so usually if they're winning in the first half, that's a pretty good sign because they are not a great second half team. I mean, sometimes they can be, especially at home in that Nebraska game. They did pretty well in that second half, but I was kind of keeping track of the score throughout. At no point was Illinois ever on the ropes. The final score is honestly a lot closer than it really was. The whole game, Illinois was leading. At no point, I mean, at least watching the highlights, at no point did Iowa look like they had a chance. And you could tell with the crowd, to be honest. The crowd was kind of dejected. They did all show up. I mean, from what I heard, it was sold out. But when you're not, when you go down, what was it, 21-5 in that beginning of that game, it's just going to be really tough to come back from that. And what's it go back to? Bennett Sturts. Kylan Boswell locked them up. I thought he played really, really well. MVP of the game, especially defensively. And that's what you get with Kylan. You either get a really good defensive performance and he stops the number one guy, or they figure out the Boswell system and they take advantage of Boswell and they utilize his weaknesses. Today, luckily, was a very, or yesterday rather, was a very good Boswell game. So I think he just showed his veteran leadership abilities, and I was really impressed. Another veteran, Andre, he played very, very well. Another one of those games where you just need Andre to go get a bucket, he'll get a bucket. He's not every game gonna have some crazy MVP performance, but the games where you need him to play well, he can play well. So I was really impressed with him, honestly. I personally might give him the MVP. Keaton Wagler also played really well, from what I understand, though. Most of his points came in the second half. So, again, I mean, as a freshman, being able to score all your points in the second half, that's pretty good. I mean, most times at that point in the game, especially earlier in the season, you'd start to see those freshmen pass the ball to the older guys, and now you're starting to see Merck and Keaton actually take it to the hoop and, keep the ball in those minutes at the end of the game. And so I'm really happy with where this Illinois team's at right now. It can only go uphill. I mean, well, I guess it could go downhill. Unfortunately, like I'd predicted a couple weeks ago, this whole stretch, the only loss I predicted was the Northwestern game. So I did predict the Iowa win before. I predicted it on the preview. My prediction was very, very close too. I think I predicted 73-70 or something like that. And the final score is what? 75 to
75
69.
69.
Yeah, so
Sorry, we're 6 minutes into this episode and I haven't even said the final score yet. 75-69, a lot closer on paper or in the box score than the game probably should have been because the Illini led by 12 to 15 pretty much all the way until the under 8 timeout. So, regardless, great game by the Illini until that under 8 timeout in the second half. We'll talk about that in a second because I do think there is a bit of a point to make about the Illini's offense after they got a comfortable lead and then you're trying to wind the game down and win it. Nonetheless, I want to get back to your point about Kylan Boswell. That man was a dog, absolute dog. There's a picture of him. I don't know if he's screaming or barking or yelling something at Bennett Sturts, but you can see it in the game. He swiped the ball away on one possession and they called a foul on him. And I first of all thought it was a pretty clean steal. And then a possession later, same thing. He got his hands in the cookie jar, swiped the ball away from Bennett Sturts. Bennett Sturts gets the ball back, but Kylan Boswell is like barking in his face. And there's a photo of it, and it's going to be one of the greatest photos that we're going to get of this team this season of any player. Maybe we'll feature it in like the thumbnail or something so you guys
yeah, I'll try and figure that out. And speaking of
bring.
fouls, that foul that they called on Keaton with that hook and hold or whatever that was, that
Yeah,
was
let's get into that.
garbage, man. That
Well,
was garbage.
let's get into the officiating in general because it was subpar once again. I do think it was pretty subpar on both ends because there were a few fouls on the Illini where I was like, or I'm sorry, there were a few fouls committed against the Illini where I was like, that wasn't a foul at all. But on the opposite end, those two travel calls on Zvonimir Visic at the end of the game, the hook and hold, which ended up sending, I think it was Fulgaris or maybe not Fulgaris. I think it was Cooper Koch or Tate Sage, rather. It was Tate Sage, one
Yeah,
of
it
the
was
white
that
guys.
Sage.
Yeah, Sage sends him to the line for two free throws, and they get the ball back in a 5-point game. Um, the basketball gods decided to go with Illinois that night because Bennett Sturts missed that wide open layup. I don't know how he missed that, but nonetheless, it was unfortunate because it's like the Illini escaped this game, and they escaped at the end, and they got lucky on some plays. Bennett Sturts' missed layup, especially, but they really dominated this game too. And when you look at it, Andre had 17, Kylan had 17, Keaton Wagler had 19, and he had 12 in the second half. Um, it's getting to the point where it's like pick your poison with this Illini team, with this Illinois team. It's like, and we're not even talking about Tomislav and Mirkovic because they only had 7 and 7 each. And then the bench, you got Zvonimir with 8, who I would say had a really good game. And then you had Jake Davis and Ben Hummerkaus, and they both had 0 points. And I would say they played a pretty good role in this game as well. But then there's Brandon Lee on the bench, and you got Petrovic on the bench. And it's like this Illini team can hurt you in so many ways. And I think Iowa wasn't like this wasn't the first game we've seen this from the Illini team where it's like pick your poison, but this was the first game where I felt like it really came together super well because at the first 5 to 7 minutes, Andre was dominating. He was getting to the lane on everything, and then Keaton Wagler took over in the second half. Ice in his veins, hit some step back threes that like KJ would make last year. And then at the end of it, like Kylan came down the lane with 2 or 3 layups where it was like we really needed a layup, or I think Tomislav missed a three and Kylan got the back end of it and he just put it back up on the glass and made an easy 2 off an offensive rebound. So it's getting to the point where it's like I don't know how you defend these guys. They're second in Ken Palm in terms of offensive efficiency after this game. Let me refresh my Ken Palm real quick.
And I
Offensive
think they're
rating.
first. Are they not first in defense?
They're third in Ken Palm after tonight, which I don't know if Alabama or Purdue played tonight. But there is one stat on Ken Palm. If you get to the point where you're above 125 in your offensive rating, like efficiency, that's like historically good. Like historically good college basketball teams have been above 125. The Illini are at 126.9. Purdue is at 129.6. I'd argue they're not as good as that rating right now. Alabama is at 128.2. Alabama's defense just sucks. That's why they're lower rated than their offensive rating. But the Illini now are at 16 defensively too. They've been the second or first best defensive team since the middle of December. And it's like,
What
where's like
impressed me about this game was the fact that Illinois easily, like this could have been a spot where they lose. They've been on a roll. Iowa needed this one. It's on the road. You've got Bennett Sturts. You've got all the stars were lining on. Iowa fans really, really thought that they were going to win this one. And if
I
I was
thought
an Iowa
Iowa was
fan,
gonna win this game, Noah.
yeah, I think everybody thought Iowa was going to win this game. And the fact Illinois just went out there and like punked them, like let's be honest, they kind of punked them from the get-go. They're
Until the
really
end.
impressive. Last year's team wouldn't have been able to do this. I mean, they really impressed me, and that makes me confident for the games like Northwestern and the games where you're going into the hostile environments and maybe it's not a Purdue or a Michigan, but still, I mean, a Big Ten road game is a Big Ten road game. So I was really impressed with this performance.
And that's a perfect segue because you're saying like it's not a Northwestern, but similarly to the Iowa game, Iowa, like we said before, had lost at Minnesota, which is a tough loss. Now they've lost at home to Illinois, and now they go on the road to face Purdue. So as an Illini fan, like going into that Iowa game, you're thinking, damn, we really caught Iowa at a bad time. Now I would make the argument that we've really unfortunately caught Northwestern at a bad time as well. Northwestern played pretty solidly on the road against Michigan State, lost by 8 or 10 points off the top of my head. I don't know the answer to that one, but it was closer than it looked at the end of the game. Uh, they lost on a buzzer beater block to Rutgers in a game that they led by 8 points in the first half. Now I know it's a Big Ten road game, but I thought Northwestern should have won that one. And now you come back and it's your first Big Ten home game in a month, and you got your rival, your in-state rival, Illinois, who you've beaten 2 times in the last 2 games at Welsh Ryan Arena. Now, we will be there, so I don't know if we're gonna have any like effect on this game. Wednesday night at 7 o'clock.
We're gonna have an effect. Let's just say an outfit's gonna be pulled out and there will be pictures potentially keep posted on the Instagram. We don't know yet. I
We get
am going
confirmation
to.
that we're both gonna. I have a Bratislav, Bratimir, whatever you want to call it, outfit lined up for this one, and you have whatever is in
I
your.
have something in the works. I have something in the works for this game. I'm really excited, and I think our aura is gonna help boost the team.
I, so my first question for this one, before I mean we're into the Northwestern preview now. The Illini face Northwestern on the road in Evanston, a game I've been going to for the last 25, 26 years of my life since I was a little baby. This game's always really fun because it's typically about 50-50 Illini and Northwestern fans. In good years, the Illini fans typically chant ILL, INI louder than the Northwestern fans chant Go U N U, I think is their chant. I don't know off the top, but something silly like that. I thought they'd be smart enough to come up with something more creative. Nonetheless, you were worried about it being a hostile environment because you texted me and were like, "Can I wear this and can I wear that?" And I'm like, "Noah, there's going to be more Illinois fans than there are Northwestern fans at this game, especially this season because Northwestern sucks. They just
Well, not
lost."
to mention Northwestern, they're nice. I don't think they're not like Philadelphia fans. They're not going to beat me up for wearing a nice little outfit. And guys, when I tell you, I mean, keep your eyes peeled for this outfit. I can't talk about it enough.
Well, to be fair, most of the Northwestern fans in the Chicagoland area who are going to be going to this game probably make like six figures a year and also own like a boat and then like a timeshare in Florida. So they're
Yeah,
doing
and they're
pretty well for
60 years
themselves.
old and they're
Yeah.
bringing their grandkid to the game.
Yeah,
So,
they're doing pretty well for themselves. They got a pretty happy life. They could have worse things going on than Northwestern being a bad basketball team. But like I said before, this Northwestern team is pretty bad, which is unfortunate to see because my high school alumni, not my friend, I never went to high school with him or attended a class with him, but Nick Martinelli did go to Glenbrook South, which is where I attended high school. He is the second leading scorer in the country at the moment. He averages 23.4 points per game, but he's pretty much all Northwestern has. Honestly, I'm surprised he didn't transfer after last year because I thought he'd get himself on a better team that could potentially make the tournament. I know they had some good transfers come in. Arrington Page is a guy we should talk about because he's a USC transfer. He is kind of a dog when I watched him play against DePaul. DePaul had no answer for him. Now he's only 6'10", so I think Zvonimir and Tomislav, we do have the height on them. But Arrington Page is super physical. And I'm not sure if Tomislav and Zvonimir combined, like I don't think they weigh as much as Arrington Page. I think he weighs like 250. So it could be kind of a dogfight inside against Northwestern. That is what I'm most concerned about. Other than that, I think Keaton Wagler, they're gonna probably put I think his name's Jaden Reed. Let me look up their roster real quick. Yeah, Jaden Reed's their transfer guard from South Florida last year. They'll probably put Jaden Reed on Keaton Wagler if they don't put him on Kylan Boswell. And Jaden Reed's 5'10", so I like that matchup either way. Um,
is there a European influence? Is there a European factor? Do they have anybody?
they got Angelo Cheravino, but he's from Chicago. He's just of Italian descent. So if you want to give him like the, oh, Angelo Cheravino, like,
No, I'm not afraid of the Italian.
other than
They're
that,
not known for hooping.
yeah, other than that, they've got a guy from North Dakota. That's pretty obscure, but they don't have any Europeans. They do have Phoenix Gill, the son of Kendall Gill, but he's only played in
Ah,
5 games this season, so I wouldn't
oh.
expect to see him on Wednesday
Yeah,
night.
I remember really wanting him to go to Illinois, but he would have not played, to put it nicely. It would have been a
No,
Mihailo
he
Petrovic
wouldn't have played.
situation.
He was a St. Ignatius, like, yeah, I think Mahilo would play over him too. Like, I mean, the guy we have from St. Ignatius is AJ Red, and AJ Red doesn't play a whole lot either. So,
Mm-mm.
nonetheless, I mean, like that being said, though, this is a Northwestern game, which we have historically done so poorly in the past in Welsh Ryan Arena. We've lost the last two against them
And
in Welsh Ryan
they
Arena.
need one bad
Last
right
year.
now. They need a
Yeah,
game
no, last
bad.
year was the overtime and Northwestern needs a game exactly. Like Northwestern's 0-5 in the Big Ten. They're not gonna make the tournament. But if they're gonna like give Nick Martinelli the slightest glimmer of hope that they might make the tournament this year, like they gotta start winning Big Ten games. And a win against the Illini, who are now ranked number 13, would be a very good place to start. Um, I think that just means like you and I have to bring the energy from the start even more because it typically does like go back and forth between the Northwestern and Illini fans, especially as the game goes on and if it's a close game, especially. So I think we just need like from the start, we just have to be like really obnoxious and like
Did you
we're
secure the
pretty high
fit?
up. I did. I tonight actually. I meant to text you that. I do. Yeah, yeah. I texted you earlier. I have the fit. It might be a little big on me, but I don't have it with me yet. I'm getting it tomorrow, but I will be Bratislaved out.
It's going to be like a Blues Brothers situation. We're going to get some footage for the YouTube channel. We might make a little bit of a vlog out of it. I'm going to try and get some pre-game footage. maybe do a couple. We thought about doing some interviews, so maybe we'll get some people and ask them some questions about Northwestern and Illinois. But it should be a really fun game. I mean, I've been to a Northwestern DePaul game, and that was a blast, and so I can only imagine that the Illinois game's going to be way more fun because Illinois actually has a fan base.
Yeah, no, and it always ends up being pretty rowdy in Evanston. And the best part about this arena is like we're sitting in the 200 section and there's not a bad seat in the house. 6 or 7 years ago when it was like pre before renovations, um, you were sitting on like pine wood benches if you were up too high, and there was just like a seat number on the bench, and there was no like actual seat, so you just kind of like wedged your way in between. And if you got sat next to the fat guy, it was like being sat next to the fat guy in the airplane. You just suffered for 3 hours. But now it's a nice arena. We'll have a good spot for it. Um, like I was saying before, though, are you at all worried about the fact that this is kind of like a must win for Northwestern? They do typically play Illinois pretty closely. I just don't see Northwestern having the talent this year. But like that was the same case last year and the same case the year before, and they beat us in
Yeah,
both at home. So
for me, the difference is really this Illinois team seems to be different. They're a lot better than last year's team, honestly, and they might even be better than the Terrence Shannon team. I don't think they necessarily have a player as good as Terrence Shannon, but as a whole, I think this team is got to be better. And it's going to be one of those games where I think it is going to be close. You know, I don't think it's going to be like the Iowa game necessarily. I do think it's going to be a scrap. I mean, I predicted an Illinois loss here, so I don't still think it's going to be a loss. Honestly, this team has impressed me. I think at that point in time when I predicted the loss, that was after, I can't even remember what game that was after. Maybe the after the Missouri game or something like that. But honestly, this team, the wins they've been able to pull out, the Ohio State game, this past game as well, you know, they're winning the games that they should be winning. And so that gives me a lot of confidence. I wonder what the line's going to be. I don't know if that's out yet. I would be surprised if Illinois is not favored by double digits, honestly. And I do want to mention before we end this episode, we don't have to get to it right now, but we do have to talk about that Michigan loss, that sweet, sweet Michigan loss. You should have seen me yelling at that TV at the Wisconsin Badgers. Make your free throws, make your free throws. They were terrible. In that last like 2 minutes of that game, I'm like, oh my gosh, how do they have 90 points? They can't make a single shot. But they pulled that win out. I mean, Michigan, talk about a choke job. That was just abysmal. And nothing was sweeter. Merez tries to get that put back at the end, just not going in. You love to see it. You love to see it, professional Michigan hater. Just wanted to get that out there. So that's all I got to
so
say.
you're telling me you couldn't wake up for an 11 a.m. Illinois game, but you could wake up for a noon, maybe 12:30 Michigan,
I would
Wisconsin.
wake up at 4:30 in the morning to watch Michigan lose.
I mean, it put the country on notice in a broader college basketball landscape. It looks like it's anybody's ball game right now. And once again, this is an Illini. This matchup for the Illini is one of those ones that like if they lose, back to the lower bottom half of the ladder. You know, like not in terms of entire basketball landscape, but like in terms of teams you're taking seriously. Right now, the Illini are on the upswing. If they continue to beat these teams they should beat, I mean, people are gonna already today. If you looked at the Ken Palm, I'm not gonna be able to pull up the exact stat, which is unfortunate. But if you go on Ken Palm, every year they release a stat, and we were talking about it before the podcast, where it's like the top 12 teams in terms of both offensive efficiency and defensive efficiency. One of those teams has won the NCAA tournament for the last 18, 19, 20 years. I don't know the exact stat, but it's like it's pretty predictable of like if you select one of those teams, they're going to win the tournament. For the first time in a long time, the Illini were in those 12 teams, meaning they have one of the top offensive teams in the country and top defensive teams in the country in terms of efficiency. And they're finally putting it together, like I keep saying. If we go down this list, like
Is that the Cam Crocker effect?
I don't think it's the Cam Crocker effect. I think it's this team is finally gelling. They're figuring out like None of us need to score 50 points a night. None of us need to score 25 points a night. We can all score 11. We can all get 6 rebounds a game. And like one of us will probably have 25, but like the sum of the parts is I don't know the exact quote. What is it? The sum of the parts is now equaling the whole or something.
Yeah, some like early bird gets the worm.
Yeah, there's a euphemism there that I'm completely missing, but
Bird in the
nonetheless,
hand's worth two in the bush.
yeah, something like that. But we're the this team is coming together, and I haven't seen an Illini team like this in a while. I would most likely equate it to like the very, very end of the season for the Terrence Shannon Jr. team, but this team seems to be gelling earlier on, and I mean, we could go into Purdue, and I might feel like we're gonna win that game, but nonetheless, I want to get to predictions here, and I'm gonna give you mine first. I'm gonna be really bold here because I predicted a loss last time and it went the Illini's way. I think we beat the shit out of Northwestern, dude. Like like Northwestern doesn't have the only thing that worries me is Arrington Page. I
Do they
think
have
on
three-point shooting?
no, not really. Like let me check their entire team
That's
stats.
the only way you beat Illinois is if you have three-point shooting, or if Martinelli just goes absolutely like
Like Martinelli scored
unbelievable.
34 in the last game. Like he could go off, but Northwestern, like the rest of their team scored like 34 points total. So it's just like they don't have the dogs in they have one 7-footer and he never plays. He's a freshman. So uh other than that, Arrington Page is 6'11. Their next tallest guy is Nick Martinelli at 6'9. Like or Nick Martinelli 6'7. Tyler Kropp is 6'9. So like this is gonna be in my opinion, back to what I was saying before, I think this Illini team wins big. I wouldn't be surprised if it's kind of close in the first half, and then we pull away like 8 or 9 point lead by halftime. And then I think I want to see the Illini in the second half put their foot down on the gas and be like, okay, we're beating the shit out of you guys. But I think this will be 86-71 Illini. And I think we stretch the lead to 20 points at certain points of the game.
Yeah, I will say, like I had mentioned, I did predict Northwestern to win this game. However, that was before we got tickets to the game, and that was before
They didn't know we
we
were going.
they didn't know we were going, and they didn't know we were going in these fire fits. That completely changes everything. So we're gonna show up. We're gonna be loud. We're gonna be rowdy. We're going to be getting beers. We're going to be getting players post game to shout out Chillinois podcast. Maybe they'll recognize us. Maybe Merck will see us. What if Merck in the game catches our eyes? He's like, "Hey, it's the Chillinois guys." I
Shout
mean, you
out to
never know.
Chillinois podcast mid-game. He hits a three.
He's like, "That one's for you guys. Shout out Chillinois basketball."
He
No,
points to
but
us.
no, I do think Illinois is going to get this one done. Honestly, I think we're rolling right now. We're cooking with gas. I'm going to predict Illinois 84. No, 78. 78. I'm going to say Northwestern 72. I think it's going to be similar to the Iowa game where Illinois is going to be out ahead for most of the game. And then I think Northwestern's going to make a surge at the end and kind of cut it close. And then it's going to come down to the free throws. And I think Illinois is going to edge them out. We'll see what happens with Martinelli. I'm assuming it's going to be a Boswell situation. I mean, you kind of got to keep rolling with it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Although you could probably stick Keaton or Andre on him and be just fine, honestly. I think it's going to come down to the bigs. I think if they can take advantage of this Northwestern team, they can, score a lot in the paint. We saw in the last game they were scoring. I don't remember if it was the Iowa game or if it was the Rutgers game, but they scored a large majority of their points in the paint. And so that was really impressive to me. And it's just going to show that, hey, if the three-point shot's not falling, there's other ways they can score. Because in these away environments, three-point shots not always going to fall. So you got to get those offensive rebounds, try to score in the paint when you can. And I think they're doing a really good job of getting to the free throw line. it's very similar to the Terrence Shannon year when it just seemed Illinois lived at the line. It's great, especially when you've got multiple players that can do it, not just Terrence Shannon. You got Andre, you got Keaton, you got Kylan. I mean, you wish Tommy would be able to do a little bit better, but it is what it is. I mean, he's slowly improving this season, it seems. But
Uh, Go ahead. Sorry,
no,
didn't
I
mean
was
to
just
cut
gonna
you
say it
off.
should be a really good game, and I do think Illinois pulls this one off.
You mentioned free throws, and it got me thinking because I also, once again, saw another stat today that I should have written down and kept for this podcast specifically. So off the top of my head, I'm gonna go estimate the number that I saw. But if you look at the last couple of games for the Illini, their ability to play defense without fouling and then also subsequently get to the free throw line themselves has been otherworldly. They've been the number one team in terms of that category. I think the free throw discrepancy was like, I mean, I could be way off here because I'm just going off the top of my head from what I thought I saw earlier. I think it was like 134 to like 70 something in terms of made free throws. So that's like 60 points we're gaining at the line over the last couple of games, which is absurd. And I could be way off with that, but nonetheless, if you want to fact check me on it, I know for a fact the Illini are one of the better teams in the country at getting to the line while also playing defense without fouling, which I will say against Iowa, they did so well. I mean, there were a lot of times where it was like, I don't know. You probably could have called a foul on that maybe if it was like a regular Big Ten game, and the refs certainly had the whistles in their mouths a lot. But either way, they've shown time and time again that they can play defense and they'll wall up without fouling. And the really only guy that I think like has an issue with fouling is Zvonimir, and he's done such a good job in the last few games of staying grounded and not jumping at the first like hesitation fake that the offensive player is making and just staying because like the thing about Zvonimir is he's 7'2". He doesn't have to jump to block a guy. So like stop jumping, just stay on the ground and swat the shot when it goes up. And he's done such a great job of that recently. That's why I'm not too worried about this Northwestern game because I think between him and Tomislav, they'll have Arrington Page covered. If you look at the matchups otherwise, like nobody's guarding Markovich this game. Keaton Wagler's 6'6" and their guard's 5'10". Like, how is he going to guard Keaton Wagler in this game? The Illini have so much height in this one. That's why I predicted a 15-point win. For our sakes, I hope we see it. I mean, a close game is never fun or is never not fun to go to. So if this game's close, like it will be fun. But like for our like blood pressure, we should probably just see them walk out of here, 15, 20-point win, go home, take some photos of us in the Brad uniforms and call it a night and move on to Minnesota the next game, which we'll have a guest for. But nonetheless, we're going to be in Evanston Wednesday. I'm excited. It's the first time we've gone to a game together. So I don't know what
Th-
you're
th-
planning on, but
This is my first Illinois game in probably like 15 years. I mean, it's been a long
really?
time. Yeah, it's been a long time since I've been to an Illinois game, so I'm excited.
Okay, that makes sense why you were like, I don't know if I should wear all of this to the Evanston game. Like, dude, I promise you there's going to be more Illinois fans there because I've been going to this game every year since. I mean, they don't have it every year in Evanston, but when they do have it in Evanston, I don't think I've missed it in a long time. So it'll be a pretty pro Illini crowd if my memory rings true. But I'm excited to see you. It's been a while since I've seen you in person, so it'll be a cool time. Um, the beers will be flowing, the Balkan will be flowing, and hopefully the Illini shots will be falling as well. And we'll get an Illini win. We'll see. Any closing thoughts before we call this one another podcast? And you can say anything you want before this game. So,
No, I mean, I hope we get to listen to some Balkan music on the way down, and maybe
well,
we'll.
you're coming from what, Rockford?
Oh yeah, I forgot we're driving separate. Well, I can still
Yeah,
play it.
you can
I
play in your
can
car.
I can play it in my car and then just maybe sing you a song or something like that when I show up to the stadium.
I think if we like meet the players or anything after the game, we should have a playlist and be like, "Hey, can you take a look at my playlist and see if you like any of these songs?"
Oh, I'm
And
gonna try and sneak in the damn press office and meet Jeremy Warner. I want to meet the Illini Inquirer guys in the flesh.
you
And
can't get me in any trouble. I got the tickets, so don't get me in any trouble.
Oh, no trouble. We won't get in any trouble. I mean, we're just here to report the news. Maybe is Sile gonna be there?
I don't think he will be. I haven't asked him, but I'll give him a text before that game. I don't think he's coming to this one in Evanston though. Do you have a alternative identity you want to go by that night? Because you will be in this like Balkan outfit. Do you want to be like Novovicic,
I
like
mean, I could be
Morganicic?
Babasic. I could be Babasic Ivasic.
You could. I was thinking my name will just be, well, I said earlier it'd be Swearingic for the rest of the year with Swaringic with the little apostrophe or whatever that is over it. Nonetheless, it's gonna be fun. I'm excited. Uh, if I wish the game was tomorrow, I'm kind of like I just want to go to a basketball game right now. But we will have a recap. Um, whatever content we come up with during the game, look out on our story and our YouTube for that because we should probably be doing something important for that one. But I don't know. I'm liking the Illini at this time of the year, and if we get this win against Northwestern, my expectations are only higher. So I'm looking forward
Yeah.
to it. No,
Yeah,
uh,
this will be a good game. I'm very, very excited. If we win this one, I think we'll win out until the Purdue game. So it's a good time. I predicted 2026 year of the Illini.
it's looking like it so far, and I think I have to keep this DePaul hat on because every time I wear this DePaul hat, I mean, what a weekend for Chicago sports. If you're a Chicago, Illinois sports fan, you're like beside yourself right now because you had the Bears, you had the Bulls win, you had the Blackhawks win. They're like 5-1 since the new year, and then you had the Cubs sign Alex Bregman. So
And
it's
I do
only
want to say DePaul only lost to UConn by 12 points. Illinois lost to UConn by 13 points. So I don't want to brag, but DePaul might be better than Illinois.
let's not go that far, but strange statistics how it works out there. Nonetheless, thanks for being here, Noah. I'm excited to see you on Wednesday. It'll be a fun game in Evanston. Hopefully, we come out with a win. I'm expecting a win, but we shall see. You never know with this Illini team, but ILL, Noah. I'll see you Wednesday.
I and I.